welcome to this, and this will be my kind of discussion about Bryan Danielson leaving ROH. A lot of people asked, and I'm going to talk about ROH in general as well. A lot of people asked, oh, what do you think, Bryan Danielson leaving ROH? What's your opinions of it? Anyone that would have asked me 3 months ago, I would have said the same thing. Anyone that would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have said the same thing. This is about 2 years late, in my opinion. Bryan Danielson has been ready for the WWE for at least that long. I'm shocked that it's taken this long. There's also rumors out there that they're looking at Nigel McGuinness. I believe ever since I've been on here, I've said I can't believe they haven't signed Nigel McGuinness, because Nigel McGuinness to me is more of what they look like, or look for in a guy. So that shocks me that he's not there already. Particularly since both guys kind of have it in with Regal, and of course Danielson has it in with both Regal and Shawn Michaels. A lot of people have asked me, what do I think, how will he do? I have no idea how he'll do. It depends on how he's used. I thought of all the guys in ROH that have gone to, if you had told me 3 years ago that all of the guys that will eventually go, or even 4 years ago, all the guys that will eventually go from ROH to WWE, that the biggest failure would be, and I don't blame him for this, but would be Colt Cabana, I'd look at you and go, what? Well, I guess you could say, but he was not even there a day, which was Claudio. But you know, I would have looked at you and said, what? If you and looked at you crazy and said Colt Cabana's made for the WWE, but didn't happen. I have no idea. I have no idea if they're going to give him a chance to shine. I have no idea. You know, if you would have told me that Seidel would go get a name change and get over like he has, I probably would have looked at you like he doesn't have the size and they're not going to let him do his stuff. They have. So it'll be interesting. You know, the WWE has apparently made a commitment now, if you kind of read the dirt sheets, to actually put guys over, because they're starting to figure out that, you know, they haven't made anybody. And apparently when Shawn Michaels came back, he wanted to know, so who's been put over since I've been gone? To the big detriment of on Raw. SmackDown, you've got people, but that's just kind of the way it is. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know if he's going to go right to ECW. I don't know if he's going to have to go to Florida. Like Low-Key has. Now that he's there, he's been there. It's not brought up. I have no idea. I guess they don't think he's safe. I have no idea. There's a lot of guys there that I'm shocked they haven't brought up. But apparently the other guy that they're looking at is Delirious. That kind of shocks me, but not really. If he's allowed to keep his gimmick, which I'm sure is probably a big deal with him, and he comes up, I could see them bringing him up just so that they could have another guy that they could sell to kids, such as Ray. He's about the same size as Ray. Probably not as good as Ray, but does things different from Ray, and could probably get over in a kind of jobber, silly type role, and probably would never care. And he's friends with Matt Seidel, and I'm sure that plays a part of it as well. So what does this mean for Ring of Honor? Pretty much nothing. They're going to have this more than the economy, which is pretty much what's hurting them now, along with the fact of, you know, the fact that we've seen a huge. We're seeing more and more of DVDs and more access to DVDs online as far as being pirated. Even more than that, this is their biggest obstacle to overcome, is guys leaving, because they can't pay guys what the WWE can. They can't really pay guys more in some regards than TNA can. I'm sure there's probably, you know, I'm sure the low end guys of TNA are probably making about what the high end guys on Ring of Honor are making. And when I say that, keep in mind the low-end guys in TNA are not making very much at all. I'm talking about the guys we seldom see on TV. Or the guys that, you know, just you almost never see. Those guys not making very much. Anyways, that all said, you know, that's always going to be their biggest obstacle to overcome, and they're always going to have to bring in more talent over and over again, and they're going to have to be a good judge of talent, and that will ultimately be, I think, Adam Pearce's biggest obstacle, not the booking part. You know, people can gripe about his booking all they want. I think his biggest is going to be, can he judge talent as good as Gabe? That's going to be the biggest obstacle he has in front of him, and that will always be ROH's biggest obstacle unless they can find someone willing to allow them to spend millions and millions of dollars on wrestlers to bring in guys with names, so guys do not leave, so that they can, you know, compete, because that's how you have to compete with the WWE, unfortunately. It's why TNA, you know, they have to rely on cast-offs or guys that WWE let go and miss the boat on. They have to prey on that. You know, TNA is going to have to hope that, you know, when Anderson shows up, when Ken Anderson shows up, Mr. Anderson shows up, that, you know, he can get over and that he can show that he's, you know, the WWE missed the boat on him, kind of, you know, not in the same regards, and I hate to bring it up, but it's the same type of thing. They have to hope that they pull a, you know, Steve Austin out of the hat, like WCW getting rid of Steve Austin because they couldn't see, you know, where he would be, and then, you know, he became Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that's kind of where I would put it. I don't think people need to hit the panic button like people are. I think this is just the way it goes. If you like ROH, it's just going to be a constant kind of revolving door of guys coming in and out. And if the WWE wants guys, and you know, like I said, they've said they want to make new stars. One of the easiest ways to make new stars is to bring new guys in and try to see if they can freshen stuff up and see if they can catch on where other guys have not. You know, I would argue that, you know, they've given almost nobody any chance whatsoever over the last couple of years. They say they give guys chances, but, you know, there's a difference. Go back and look. This is a good example. Go back and look at the DX match from SummerSlam. Look at the difference between when Hunter was in the ring and when Shawn was in the ring. Just look at the difference between them selling guys, letting guys get over on them, and making guys. Look at the difference between, you know, Hunter. And I'm not saying Hunter didn't try to put the guys over. Just look at the difference. Look at the difference between the Ziggler match and the Ray match. Look at that comparative to what they have been doing for 3, 4, maybe even 6 years now of, you know, saying, oh, well, I tried to put the guy over. No, you didn't. You know, there's ways to put guys over. Guys don't have to win. There's even ways to put guys over without putting guys over and letting them win. There's ways to do that too. If you've been in the business long enough, you know how to do that. But, you know, this is just going to continually be the same thing over and over and over again. I just hope that if these guys that leave Ring of Honor don't get stuck in Florida, because to me that's a death sentence. I have yet to see anybody of any... You know, no one has gotten better by being in Florida, in my opinion, at all. This isn't like when guys would go to OVW, even when, you know, when Cornette was there, there's no question, guys got tons better. When Heyman was there, you know, Heyman was burnt out, he says, but there were still guys that were made, there were still guys that were learning things, there were still guys that at least got better while they were there. I can't say that about the guys that have come through Florida. You know, at best, guys have been the same as we saw them before. We haven't seen, I don't think, anyone that got better, per se. So none of the women have gotten anywhere close to better. So there is that. You know, and they're definitely on the radar. They've been on the radar for a long time. You know, JR has been talking about Ring of Honor for a long time now. So, and Danielson wasn't under contract. He had not been under contract. That's kind of why he's not been pushed super hard in Ring of Honor, but still pushed, but not pushed super hard in Ring of Honor because he wasn't under contract, and most people knew that. So, like I said, this isn't, to me, a big deal because I thought this should have happened 2 years ago. Same thing with Nigel. If Nigel goes, it's the same thing. Nigel should have been gone 2 years ago, in my opinion, because I thought he was that good then, and I thought he was perfect for the WWE, and, you know, they're just now going, oh, look, here's this guy. You know, I do think it's good for Danielson that he's got Shawn Michaels there, that he's got Regal there, two guys that will champion him, two guys that will probably get in the right people's ears and say, hey, give this kid a chance. He's good. You know, apparently he did open a lot of eyes when the last time he was in the WWE as far as a tryout goes. JR spoke nothing but praise of him and said, and the people that saw him live said it was amazing to see how fast he could get the crowd behind him. So that is good. So I have some faith. We'll have to wait and see. I definitely think, you know, if more people get to see Bryan Danielson, and Bryan Danielson can go out there and do just half of what he normally does, and they just make him into a mat wrestler, which they really haven't had a great, you know, they really haven't had that guy to be kind of Benoit, so to speak. since Benoit, you know, was erased from the record books. So maybe he could be that. You know, he has. I would say he has as much credentials as Benoit did, maybe even more so than when Benoit went to WCW. So there is that. With that, I'm out. I just wanted to make this quick little video, even though it wasn't very quick, was it? I guess. Anyways, later. Have a good